Thank you, subscribers, for the great idea of top 10 hiking fragrances. I didn't think you'd want to know that, but here we go anyway. Today we are in Loch Lomond at the Falls of Phallic, or at least we are heading there. And it's not like a phallic thing, like ugh. A hike can be really hot, it can be cold, icy sometimes, but for the most part, you're usually gonna be out on a nice warm day, and for a large part of it, you'll be in the shade. So you need a fragrance that will work in those conditions. At the bottom of this list, the number 11 spot, getting an honorable mention, is my scent of the day, Tom Ford Noir Extreme. If you were able to watch my scent of the week video when I was in Loch Lomond, I wore this fragrance for all of my hikes while I was there. And although it's a fragrance you wouldn't immediately think of when you think of hikes, I wore it and it worked really well. It smelled really nice, it was comforting, it sort of suited the atmosphere in wooded environments, and it's a fragrance that I can just put on quite a bit of and enjoy. Now, although it worked, it's not necessarily ideal for these conditions, so that's why it doesn't necessarily make the top 10, but I wanted to mention it anyway. At number 10, however, is Paco Rabanne 1 Million Lucky. The newest flanker of the 1 Million series, Lucky is actually a fresh fragrance in disguise. When you first look at the notes, you wouldn't necessarily call it a fresh fragrance, and it isn't all that much. Hazelnut, honey, plum, not entirely fresh, but what it does have is an awesome ozonic quality to it, and it still has citrus. It's a fragrance that I've worn on hikes quite a few times, and what I like about it is it's still fun, like a lot of the 1 Million flankers are, and it's currently my favorite choice out of all of them to take on a hike. If the temperature is extremely high and you still want that vibe, you always have 1 Million Cologne, but anything mid-temperature, 1 Million Lucky is a very fun fragrance to take with you on a hike. At number 9, we have Dunhill Icon Elite. This is the black bottle flanker of Dunhill Icon. I think it suits hiking because it's woodier than the original Dunhill Icon. Not only is it a traditional cedar or sandalwood or even oud, it's ebony, so it's a bit different. And it still has that energy, that spiciness that the original had. It's also masculine and fairly versatile, so it's a fragrance that you can not only use it for hiking, you can wear it pretty regularly. I will also give an honorable mention to Dunhill Icon, the original. Again, if the temperature does heat up a little bit too much for the elite version, you can settle with the original, and that can also double as your signature scent because it's really good. I just wouldn't advise bringing the bottle with you on the hike because it will weigh you down quite a bit. At number 8 on this hiking list, I present you with Cape Hardik by Imaginary Authors. This is a great choice if you're hiking in a colder environment. It's a little more coniferous in nature, so an evergreen type of feel to it. And what makes it really unique and playful and fun, which is things you want on a hike to keep your spirits up, is strawberry. It has an amazing, vibrant strawberry note that makes it extremely unique and not just a plain, green, woody, mossy fragrance. It has a lot more to it. It's my favorite fragrance by Imaginary Authors, but it's not any higher on this list because hikes can get pretty hot. And that's not a fragrance that I would wear when it's really hot outside. Next on this list, we're taking things back to the fresh side of things, Boy Chanel. Now, Boy by Chanel is one of their exclusive fragrances. It costs a pretty penny, but I think it's an amazing fragrance for this type of environment. And what's awesome too is it's really, really unisex. The name is Boy, but it's kind of marketed for women as well. And that's because it's a floral fragrance, which sounds feminine, but what's nice about the floral quality of it, it's showcasing lavender. Combination of lavender, musk, and geranium that really makes this fragrance phenomenal for us guys, but it still works for the ladies too. The performance will last you the entire hike, and it'll also develop as the hike goes on. There are a lot of notes in it, and they develop really, really nicely on my skin. It's not necessarily a fragrance I can just recommend for everyone because it is fairly unisex. So if you like being further on either end of the spectrum, maybe not the one for you, but I love it. At number 6, we have a cold weather fragrance, but I like it for hikes. It's Memoir Man by Amouage, one of my favorite niche fragrances ever. The beauty of Memoir Man is it has the Amouage incredible performance, but it's green. Not all Amouage fragrances are green, obviously. It has the lovely incense that Amouage is sometimes known for. It has mint, which makes it really cool and refreshing. And wormwood isn't often used in fragrances either. It gives Memoir Man this really smooth quality to it. It's one of my all-time favorite fall fragrances. And sometimes when you're hiking, you're in environments that are kind of fall-like, especially if you hike later on in the year. Really be careful if you're hiking in really wide open areas that aren't in the shade, because it will be pretty overpowering. But it'll overpower you with beautiful Amouage DNA. Number 5, we got Bulgari Man Extreme. Not a fragrance I talk about very much, but I do really like it. And I think for hiking, it's great because unlike a lot of extreme fragrances, this one actually seems almost fresher to me. It seems like it works even better when it's slightly warm outside. And what I love about it is its unique cactus note. It has a nice greenness to it, and it just seems to work. I mean, technically you can go with Bulgari Man as well, but not nearly as good as Extreme for me. Outside of the Aqua line, Bulgari was off my radar for years, but I'm really glad I picked up Man Extreme a while ago because it's become a staple for me in this type of environment. Okay, now you're gonna start to see some familiar faces here. Number 4 is Acqua di Gio Essenza. Kind of a no-brainer to me. It has the DNA of a typical man's fresh fragrance, but better than the original is the performance is really, really good on it. It'll last you through the heaviest hikes. And with that performance, and the reason the performance is so good is because of its concentration, but also the notes. It has more pepper, it has more basil, or basil as they say in this part of the world. The spices really complements kind of the woody atmosphere, and the herbal nature really complements the green quality of where you are naturally. Now if you want the same vibe but something more playful, Absolute, pretty good choice. And if you want something that's a little hardier, if you're a little more masculine, or maybe it's a bit cooler, then go with Profumo. At number 3, Cologne Intensa Oud, or Cologne Oud, if you got a newer version. The nice thing is whether you have the old or the new, you're still gonna get an incredible fragrance. The main notes are actually not fresh at all. It's oud and leather, but being an Acqua di Parma fragrance, you have the freshness, you have bergamot, you have orange, you even have coriander. Even though the oud and leather is so prevalent, bergamot, the orange, and the coriander make the fragrance dynamic. The beautiful thing about it is it's one of the only oud fragrances that is incredibly universal. You can wear it year-round. It lasts well over 12 hours on my skin, so even if you're going on a crazy adventure, it's going to last the entire day on you. Some people do find it a bit strange in how it's composed, so that's why it's number 3. It may be my number 1, but for this list, I got 2 more that I want to recommend. My number 2 hiking fragrance is a cologne. Verbena Fields by Parfums Vintage is my second biggest recommendation to take on a hike. This is a fragrance that I featured in a few videos, including my Green Irish Tweed battle comparison video when I went out hiking in Hamilton. Now, if you're not too good to use fragrance clones, Verbena Fields is an incredible fragrance. It smells extremely similar to Green Irish Tweed. It's funny because we're in Scotland, not Ireland. Beautiful fragrance, lasts a long time, smells perfect for being in the woods. No matter if it's hot or cold, it's just phenomenal. But it isn't number 1 because my number 1 beats it in pretty much every category. And it's also a little more creative too. My number 1 fragrance for hiking really has it all. Performance is great, smell is great, it develops really nicely. It's classified as a citrus aromatic. It starts with amazing, beautiful citrus qualities, lemon, and orange. I also have lavender as well, which suits a forested area perfectly. But as the fragrance dries down, oak moss starts to emerge. I love this fragrance because it starts off very energetic, which is the way you want to start on a hike. And as it settles down, it becomes green, masculine, earthy. The scent itself isn't necessarily crazy unique because it's essentially citrus with some masculine green qualities, a little bit woody as well. But the way that it performs, the way that it evolves, make it an incredible fragrance. What better fragrance to take with you on a hike than Mancera's Lemon Line? If you want to see my review on Lemon Line, you can go check it out right there. This is just my opinion at the end of the day, guys. Don't forget that. Get your own opinions.